shaft.
This is my 1986 Mini that myself and a friend Whit tried to drive all the way to Ulan-Ude. Unfortunately, we weren't successful. We broke down just the other side of a city called Bayanhonga in Mongolia because the engine threw a conrod. We got the car back a couple of weeks ago, and now we're going to do the teardown, take the engine out, and hopefully find out what damage was caused. The car is basically as it was when we unloaded it from the container in the UK. The only thing that we have done to it is remove all my camping gear from it. Things like the grille, which you can see is missing. That happened in Mongolia. We took it off to try and help the engine from overheating. We've also had to disconnect the battery and drain the fuel as per loading it into a container. Apart from that, she is as she was, the point that she broke down. I'm basically now going to set myself a challenge of trying to remove the engine within 4.5 hours. This is a time that is stated in the good old Haynes manual. I've got another camera going on the time lapse. I'll periodically stop and give you little tips and pointers on mini engine removal, and some pretty typical to front wheel drive cars. Yeah, hope you enjoy. There we go. You can see the start time is 27 minutes past 11. The time won't include my lunch break. We're going to have to take in an hour or so. But yeah, apart from that, 4.5 hours start to finish. Finish is the point that the engine is sitting outside the engine bay on the floor. Tip 1, draw around your hinges so you can get your bonnet to line back up again. Now, my bonnet actually doesn't perfectly line up because some guy in Mongolia tried to lift my car up from the slam panel, so I slightly distorted that. But this will be a good starting point.
In the darkest night, I saw your eyes. A sense of threat that
a tip before jacking your car up and draining any fluids out of them, crack your drive shaft nuts. Got to have the car sitting on the floor to do this, or second person on the brake. But well, as I'm working by myself today, I've got to use the floor method. Your steel rims, usually your spare wheel is good when your car's got modern alloys, or you can pop the centre cap out of them. With the wheel on the floor, you can access the nut, get a decent breaker bar on.
I wanna know who you are. This is what I need to know. So take my hand and let our fears go. Take me to your jungle where the rain is warm and the birds fly. Take me to your kingdom.
So this is the state of the sump guard after I've just taken it off. I'm guessing most of that is a mixture of 2850 oil and Mongolian desert sand. Might go some way to explaining why our engine blew up.
Metal chunks, not good.
Not surprisingly, a lot of metal shavings stuck to the sump plug. Wiring. Label everything. I know minis well, and I can follow wiring diagrams, but trust me, put a little bit of tape around and a label of what it is, and it will save you so much time when it comes to reassembly. The only thing I'm not going to label actually is the HT leads. They have got numbers on them, but they're in a completely wrong order. Interesting fact, those HT leads that are on that engine are actually from a Lada. We bought them in the town of Chastuzie. They won't be going back on in this car.
Yeah, take me to your jungle where the rain is warm and the birds fly. Take me to your kingdom. Yeah, take me to the jungle.
For lunch now, we're taking a break, so we'll stop the clock now. It is currently about 5 to 1, which means I've been going approximately an hour and a half. Well, we're back, and it's around about 2 o'clock, which by my maths gives me about 3 hours to go. Job's finished, left to do, move the radiator, disconnect the speedo cable, remove that duct, drive shafts, drive linkage, and then the engine should come out. Oh, also note to self, when it's 4 degrees, don't leave your gloves outside.
Here's what I need to know. So take my hand and let our fears go. No words describe your savage life. Ooh, let's give it a go like our purpose shows.
Dear Euro car parts, these are the wrong bolts. Your radiator has metric fittings. It's in a Mini, it shouldn't.
I wanna know who you are. This is what I need to know. So take my hand and let our fears go. Take me to.
Eventually I'm going to drop the entire front subframe and the suspension out of this car. The reasons why will be revealed in an upcoming episode. For the time being, as I've got to take the hubs out of move them out of position to get the drive shafts out, I might as well take them out completely, and in doing so that means I've got to disconnect the brake system. So I'm going to drain the brake system by basically pumping the brake pedal and pushing the fluid out into that tin can.
Where the rain is warm and the birds fly. Take me to your kingdom. Yeah, take me to the. Yeah, take me to the. Take me to your jungle. Where the rain is warm and the birds fly. Take me to.
Right, I've got to the point of taking drive shafts out. Now, normally to do this, you need what's called a cone compressor tool. Last time I did this, I borrowed one off a friend Steve. Big shout out to him. Thank you very much for having me get this car ready. Time for the rally. Unfortunately, I forgot to ask him for this weekend. However, I have done this previously without one. Minis are effectively double wishbone suspension. You have your upper one here and your lower one down here. The Mini spring is what's called a rubber cone and sits inside there. You can just see what's called the trumpet, or in my case it's aftermarket high-low, which adjusts your ride height. That's a spring. So this is constantly pushing down on this arm. We need to lift this arm up and split the taper between this ball joint and the arm here. To split the taper, we have scissor action ball joint splitter, which will work on both top, bottom and on the steering, but I managed to get that one undone. So what I next need to do is cut a piece of timber that will fit between my trolley jack here, the bottom of the shocks mount here, and as I pump the trolley jack, that will lift the suspension up. I'll then be able to split the bottom one and then the top one, and I should be able to remove the hub.
Yeah, take me to the jungle.
One gone.
Darling, I've been tempted by the darkness, telling me that I should throw it all away. Fight so hard, my heart is hardly helpless. Find myself so desperate on my knees to break.
That was not supposed to happen.
Hold on to every goal, it won't surrender, not tonight.
big fan, I think, of hitting the end of drive shaft even with the nut on. So if you're going to tap a drive shaft out and you've got a dimple like that, use a center punch. Well, there's no mind like this isn't going to work this time. My CV gate band popped off somewhere in Mongolia. For anybody else.
And I feel the spirit guiding, telling me not to give up. Hold on to every promise I've been praying for tonight. I hold on to every garment, won't surrender, not tonight. Won't surrender, not tonight. Won't surrender, not tonight. I just realized I've built walls a mile high to protect my heart, but now I'm all alone, stuck on the inside. The heart doesn't need a castle, it needs a bridge. Been too scared that I'd unravel. Brick by brick, I built these walls. Now I know that I am strong. Just watch me tear them down.
Time check, it's 4:45, which means I've got about 10 minutes to get this done. I've got everything disconnected. Unfortunately, I've had to cut gear linkage, but for future plans we won't be needing that. So yeah, that's it. Moment of truth, lift it out.
Watch me march towards the battle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. Watch me march. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love?
Time. I've come in from outside after it's gone dark and into the warm. We've successfully got the engine out and in the time allotted. I would have absolutely blitzed time had it not been for the gear linkage, which has now unfortunately been sacrificed with the use of an angle grinder. But with the plans we've got for the car in the future, that's not really going to be a problem. That's it for this episode. Thank you very much for watching, and to everybody who helped the Team Project Peddlers get ready for the Mongol Rally, and to everybody who's helped support our chosen charities, thank you.